In this video, we're going to cover the do's and don'ts with trail cameras. But first, here's all the reasons I've been running trail cameras for the last 20 years.
I've got a ton of gravel in my shoes, world on my shoulder, heart full of blues. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt.
99% of the time, I run 1080 video on all my trail cameras instead of pictures. I just find with video, A, it's more interesting, B, it's kind of fun to like share these videos, and C, like if you're trying to gauge the quality of an animal, if you get like a 20-second video clip versus one photo, you can size up that animal so much better and get a really good idea of what that animal actually is. So with all these trail cameras, 1080 video, a lot of them do offer 4K now. Problem is the 4K files are just so giant. Got to put like a 512 gig SD card in here and it just isn't really worth it. And honestly, 1080 video looks really, really good. Next tip is to use lithium batteries instead of alkaline. Lithium just lasts so much longer. Most of my cameras, I put them out for a year, and when I get back to them the next year, they're still shooting. That's because of these little guys. Next tip is where to place your camera. I always place my cameras either on feeding areas, on game trails, or on water. And as far as direction, I always face them north when I can. And the reason is because if you face them east or west, you're going to have the sun shining directly in this thing at sunrise or sunset. And if you have it facing south, later in the fall, the sun will drop down lower on the horizon, and you'll have the sun pointing right into the camera. And the problem with that is you can just get some like lower quality footage, and this thing will trigger a lot more when there's sun shining into it. So it's kind of a good battery saving tactic as well. When you're swapping out new batteries with old batteries, it's pretty crucial to keep them separated because these guys all look identical. You can't tell what's charged and what's not. So what I like to do is I go into the field. These are all brand new batteries, and these are old batteries. So when I get to the tree, I dump all the old batteries in here, and then I swap them with these new ones. Again, super key to keep them separated. There's really not a great way to tell which one's charged and which one's not. I run about 30 trail cameras, and that's a lot of memory cards, a lot of batteries to keep organized. So what I do is I use the Onyx Hunt app to manage everything. So every time I get to a trail camera or every time I hang a new trail camera, I will mark it on Onyx. I will then add the date that I swapped out batteries. And the benefit of having it on Onyx is it syncs to my desktop app. So when I get home, I can just type in onyxhunt.com. I can see all my trail cameras on a really high quality map. And the other cool feature is I can actually share those pins with my hunting partner so that they can go check the trail camera and see what's on it. So Onyx Hunt app, really crucial for managing all my trail cameras. Next tip is when you are transporting your cameras in your backpack to protect the sensor and the camera lens. And to do that, I literally just take masking tape and just put multiple layers over it. I had one specific instance where I did not do this. I did not protect the front elements here, and I hiked in 10 miles to go set up some cameras, pulled out a camera, and it was all broken on the front here, making it useless. So 10 miles for nothing. So to protect this, I literally just use blue masking tape. And this just peels off. You can see it protects the sensor right there. And then up here, you've got the camera lens as well as the infrared lighting. So, slick, easy trick, doesn't cost you a thing. Just got to this camera. This is a Covert MP30. I've had 3 of these out this year. 2 of them completely failed. They shot like a bunch of random video clips in like a random time period, and they filled the card, and they were dead. And now this one, it did shoot, but it only shot for about a week and a half. and then the memory card completely filled up. One issue I'm having with these is every file, so it's a 1080 video clip, a 20-second file is 100 megabytes, meaning with a 32 gig card, which is the biggest card you can put in these, you're only going to get 320 files, which is really not that much, especially when you have this out for a whole year. These coverts have not been reliable at all for me. I feel bad because this company sent me a whole box full last year, and I've had more of them fail than be successful. I'm going to replace all these coverts with Brownings. This is a Browning Recon Force Edge. It shoots 1080 video. Every Browning I've ever owned, which has been like 30 of them, has performed flawlessly. So from here on out, it's Browning onlys. Also, I'm not sponsored by Browning. I wish I was though. I probably spent like $2,000 on Browning trail cameras over the years, but I've just had the best luck with these. You just set them on video and they will run 1 year, no problem. Never had any issues. When I'm setting my trail cameras up, there is a sensor level mode in here, and you can either do low, medium, high, and auto. I always set it on low. Otherwise, literally every time a blade of grass moves, especially in the wind, you're going to capture a video clip. If you're in a windy area especially, and you don't have this on low, you're going to end up with probably like 1,000 or 1,500 video clips of grass just waving. Which brings me to my next point. Typically, I don't like to point my cameras directly into a meadow that I know is pretty windy, because for the exact reason I just said, you're going to get lots of grass waving. Even sometimes when you have the sensor level on low, it's still going to capture it. And to add on to that, if I am going to set my camera in a windy spot, I always put it on the biggest, beefiest tree and pretty low if possible. If I'm on like a skinny tree, or even if I'm on a big tree, but like up, 6, 8, 10 feet, when the wind blows, that tree is going to sway, and every time that tree moves, this camera is going to go off, so you're literally going to have thousands of clips of just the tree rocking back and forth. My next tip is to use a lockbox. And what a lockbox is, it's literally just a metal security box that the camera fits inside to, and then you can lash it or attach it to the tree. So it's just a metal thing, you put a lock on it. This is going to do two things. It's going to prevent against theft, and it's going to prevent animals from really messing with it. There's something about trail cameras, whether it's the light output that they put out, or it's just these animals come and they walk by and they're like, ooh, what's this like kind of shiny thing attached to the tree? They always come and inspect it. I've had so many elk just come and stick their face right on it. Bears will come and chew on these things. I've had a bear put a poke hole right in the sensor. And if you don't have them in a lockbox, often what can happen is the animal will come and they'll stick their nose in it and they'll stick their face in it. Maybe they'll chew on it and they'll actually like reposition the camera. Either they'll like make it cattywampus, or they'll even knock it off the tree, and making that camera basically useless after that. So lockbox prevents against all that. My last tip is to get the trail camera way the heck up in a tree, like 10 feet up in a tree. And the reasons you might want to do that, similar to the lockbox, security, as well as preventing animals from messing with it. Another thing about this is a lot of these cameras, they do have an infrared light, and it might just turn red, but I've noticed many, many times that light does spook game. So if you get it way the heck up in a tree, it's going to be above their eye level, and you're not going to spook them. The lightest way that I've found to get your trail cameras up in a tree is via this thing right here. This is called an aider. That's AIDER. It's a rock climbing device just to add basically footsteps and get you higher up off the ground. So this thing's got 4 steps in it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to strap it to the tree, and then that's going to allow me to step up. Alright, so now you can see there's literally 4 steps here, and I can just put my feet in and climb up to basically here. And when you're attaching a trail camera, you kind of want to be hands-free, and so if I am wearing some sort of harness, I'll be able to be hands-free. But packing a harness in 10 miles into the mountains, it's kind of a lot of weight. It's a little bit excessive. Sure, the super safe people out there would probably want to bring a full-on like rock climbing harness. What I like to do instead is I literally just bring a long tree stand strap, and I will just run it around me and around the tree, so that when I climb up this, I can lean back and use both hands to attach the tree stand. So I'll just kind of give you an example. It's a little precarious, but alright, so now literally if I just wanted to hang the camera right here, I mean this would be about 10 feet off the ground, and I've got both hands free to do it, to run a strap around. Another option you could do is instead of bringing an 8er, which this thing weighs maybe 8 ounces, you could bring a couple sets of climbing sticks. Those would do the same thing and they would just get you up off the ground. So those were a handful of tips and tricks to get the most out of your trail cameras. Now we're going to wrap this video up with some of my favorite trail camera footage from over the years.